Bandicoot Retrospective. Press start to begin.
The year is 2017, and this is part 2 of our coverage of the Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy. Last week we talked about the remake of Crash Bandicoot, and now we will be doing much of the same for Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. Will the greatness of the Crash 1 remake carry over to the Crash 2 remake, or will the game falter as it goes on? Let's find out. You already know what's gonna happen. Okay, that one was a little better than the last time. Guess I'm getting my cardio up, that's good. Unlike before, there are no minor tweaks to the story in Crash 2 like there was for the first game. This time the story is the exact same and I respect it for that. So because of that, I don't see any reason not to give the same rating as before. With all of that in mind, the Sane Trilogy version of Crash 2's story gets my rating of an A+. Just like between Crash Bandicoot 1 and 2, the Sane Trilogy versions pretty much are the same, but with an expanded moveset. It's your standard Crash fare. You run, you jump, you spin, you never get tired, and now they let you do all of the things you can do in Crash 2. Namely, you can now slide and belly slam. Just like in the original Crash 2, this allows for a whole new slew of possibilities when it comes to platforming challenges in this game. All of a sudden, they can now put things higher than you that you wouldn't have been able to dream of reaching in Crash 1. There aren't a whole ton of new things I can say about the gameplay of this game, since it really is just an updated version of Crash 2 with the Sane Trilogy's improved physics and hitboxes. It's just an overall great experience that, just like Crash 1 before it, improves upon its source material. There are a few things I do want to highlight though that really brings this game's gameplay to the next level. When it comes to Crash 2, there are a few gimmick levels. There's levels with the jet skis, levels with the jetpacks, and dark levels. All three of these types of levels were just kinda okay in the original Crash 2. The jet ski and jetpack controls in the original weren't terrible, but they definitely took some getting used to. They're still not the best in this version, but they are definitely an improvement over the original, especially the jetpack. Navigation is less floaty and movement is smoother. As for the dark levels, one thing I appreciate in this version of Crash 2 is that if you run out of light for whatever reason, unlike the original, you aren't automatically fucked. In the original, when it was dark, it was dark. In the Sane Trilogy, it's still dark, don't get me wrong, but you can still barely see the ground in front of you. You're probably still gonna die, but you still have a fighting chance if you lose that Firefly. I also appreciate the minor changes within the game as well. There are instances where, in the original game, boxes would be hidden off screen, and you just have to know that there is a box there. Once again, I have dubbed these boxes asshole boxes. They're assholes. Here though, they move the camera in these instances to at least hint that the box is there in the first place. That's just good design and a great quality of life improvement overall. All in all, the Sane Trilogy version of Crash 2 is just a more polished version of an already great title. With all of that in mind, the Sane Trilogy version of Crash 2's gameplay gets my rating of an A+. You already know that if you've seen my last video, not only do we get to see the same characters we've seen remastered before, but now we get a lot of the fan favorites. We get to see characters like Engine and Coco remastered in the new Sane Trilogy style. I know we technically saw Coco last game since you can play as her, but now we get to see her take her prominent role in the story, speaking in cutscenes, showing her character. We also get to see all of the new environments that Crash 2 brought onto the Crash series completely and lovingly redone and made even more beautiful than they were before. In the visual department, Crash 2 within the Sane Trilogy is, once again, given a beautiful and loving update without taking away what made Crash 2 great in the first place. Just like before, the voice actors do a phenomenal job bringing the old cutscenes to life in this vibrant new environment. Joining the major voice cast in this game is Debbie Derryberry, known for Jimmy Neutron, reprising her role once again as Coco. Man, she's been voicing Coco literally ever since Wrath of Cortex. That's 16 years that she's been the same voice. That's insane. Yeah, you can unsubscribe now. As for Engine, who in the Titans games were voiced by Nolan North, has now been recasted to Corey Burton, known for his role as Yen Sid in a bunch of Disney games, including Kingdom Hearts. Corey Burton actually played Engine before, but hasn't been cast in that role since Wrath of Cortex. Lots of Wrath of Cortex mentions right now. I don't like it. Corey Burton does an amazing job as Engine. He adds this freaky little gremlin voice to Engine that was sorely missed while Nolan North was voicing him. Gone is the straight up Peter Lorre impression, and now Engine sounds like Engine again. Once again, I really appreciate the fact that they didn't change a single line of dialogue in this game. In fact, they did way more than I expected. One of the lesser known interactions in this game is if you leave the first level without the crystal. If you do this, Cortex will remind you that you need to collect the crystals. If you keep going through the level without collecting the crystal, Cortex will get more and more frustrated with you as each pass goes. Not only did they recreate these interactions too, they give you a trophy for it. Do I even need to tell you that this game's soundtrack is a banger? The original soundtrack already had some of the best music on the PlayStation 1, and this update does not disappoint. Well, I guess I can't say it doesn't disappoint. There is one song. Now, it's not terrible by any means, but it definitely is eclipsed by the original. That song is Tiny Tiger's theme. It just doesn't hit enough for me here, not like the original. Like, listen to the difference. It's no contest. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to dock Crash 2 a lot of points for that one, so be ready for an inevitably low grade. With all of that in mind, the Sane Trilogy version of Crash 2's presentation gets my rating of an A+. To complete the Sane Trilogy version of Crash 2, you must do the following. You gotta do all the stuff you did in the original. All 25 crystals, all 42 gems, all 5 secret exits, and beating the game. All of that will net you 100% and the true ending to the game. You know, the one with the laser beam. Just like the game before it, this version of Crash 2 also adds 27 relics to collect. Unlike Crash 1, after defeating Cortex, you do get the Crash Dash ability. That's right, baby, we schmoovin' again. This actually makes getting the gold relics a little bit easier than the last game, but don't let that fool you into thinking that it's easy. What replaces your slow movement speed is even more platforming challenges than we saw in Crash 1. Not only do you have to be fast, you have to be smart. You can't just rush through the stages and hope for the best. You need to know when to run, when to walk, when to jump, what sides to jump on if you're trying to quickly avoid an enemy attack and move on. All of this needs to be taken into consideration if you are going to get the relics in this game. It's great and really shows off how much better the level design in Crash 2 is than its predecessor. Unfortunately, once again, getting all of the gold relics in the game gets you nothing other than an extra 2% on your save file and some trophies. Speaking of, time for the trophy breakdown! This time around, there are 24 trophies you must obtain if you want that platinum. Alright, so finishing the game will net you the 5 boss trophies, Professor Pulverized, Komodo no Mo, Tiny Tricked, Mech Wrecked, and Cortex Inadequate. The next couple of trophies will most likely pop as you attempt to complete the game. A Road Less Traveled will pop when you enter a bonus round, a Diamond in the Rough will pop when you enter a colored gem path, Cheated Death for the time being will pop when you enter a death route, and the next 5 trophies will be obtained for finding all of the secret exits. Jumping the jet board and air crash, island hopping and bear down, the Flora Flop and digging it, no bear left behind and unbearable, and hang in there maybe and hanging out. Once you 100% the game, you will obtain your 2 gem trophies. One Man's Trash, and Laser Powered Vengeance. You get Kick the Tires, Light the Fires, and Wumpa Burner Engaged for obtaining all of the gold relics. Standing at 18 of the 24 trophies just for completing the game, we now have 6 miscellaneous trophies left. Let's go through them, shall we? You get a Helping Paw by doing the 10 Lives trick. If you don't know the 10 Lives trick, just jump on the bear in Warp Room 2 10 times and you will receive 10 lives. Crash Cubed is obtained when you die to the guys holding the ice pillar in the bear riding levels. Buzz Off is obtained when you get killed by a bee. Cortex Infuriated is actually one of the trophies that I alluded to in the presentation section. You get this trophy by entering your first level and leaving the level without the crystal. Do this 3 times and not only will Cortex be tired of your bullshit, you'll also pop the trophy. Boom Shakalaka is obtained by defeating 5 enemies with Coco's leg drop move. Essentially, just defeat 5 enemies with Coco's equivalent of the belly flop. Super simple. Finally, the final trophy you must get is 99% Perspiration, the 99 Lives trophy. The best way to farm lives in this game is in the level Behaving. Get to this spot right here where this hive will spit out a line of bees that are all aimed to kill you. Instead of running away, slide spin into the group of bees. Defeating all of the bees with your slide spin should get you an extra life. Do this until you obtain the 99 that you need. With all of that, you have now received the coveted platinum trophy, the Incredible Crash Bandicoot. Just like with Crash 1, the trophies for Crash 2 aren't particularly difficult to obtain. The hardest thing you'll have to deal with is, once again, getting the gold relics. Honestly though, there really isn't a level where getting the relic is that difficult. Compared to Crash 1, Crash 2's completion is a much more nice and increasingly difficult completion process than most. Would I recommend it? If you want the added challenge on top of completing the original Crash 2, I don't see why not. Looks like the great streak is continuing. The Sane Trilogy version of Crash 2 is, once again, a better version of Crash 2. With its already amazing story unchanged, gameplay that expands upon the moveset of Crash 1 and faithfully recreated from its predecessor, presentation that is better on all fronts, and a completion that adds just the right amount of challenge on top of just finishing the game, the Sane Trilogy version of Crash 2 is an improvement over a masterpiece. There's nothing more to it than that. With all of that in mind, the Sane Trilogy version of Crash 2 gets my overall rating of an A+. Not only is this remake just as good as the original, it elevates the original to new heights, showing that its story and level design hold up even in the modern day. Thank you everybody so much for watching this video, and if you like the Crash retrospective, please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next episode. We also have merch in the description below where you can get our shirts, mugs, and stickers to enrich your gameplay experience. You could also become a channel member to get all of these videos when I'm finished editing them, as opposed to when they're scheduled to come out. Next week, we'll be looking at the next Crash game in the lineup, the Sane Trilogy version of Crash Bandicoot Warped! With that, I'm Bottles, and I bid you, my well-esteemed guests, adieu.